system.
Fidencio, how long have you been staying at number 66?
A year.
A year now.
And my brother doesn't want to pay him. But he don't like my brother. He stole. He moved all my stuff here. Where I live. My food, my drinks are there. Glasses.
So you've been staying in here for a year.
Yeah.
So when it gets in the summer,
You need some green glasses?
oh man, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So in the summer, man, this is metal
Oh, it's hot, man. I have to wait over there all day long.
until night.
Until night, man.
And because
when
it's even hot right now, it's only 80 degrees
man,
outside.
I know, man. It's terrible.
It's like a sauna.
You can't stand just start sweating here in no time. But in the cold, it's okay. It keeps you from the wind, but it's still cold, man. I got my sleeping bag, my gear there, my clean bucket, my clean clothes, cases. I got a big case here. I got a sleeping bag just in case.
It gets cold because I was about to say, when it gets 17 degrees, this is cold, just as cold as outside.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is bad, man. This is bad. But it's better than nothing.
And this is water hooked up?
Yeah, I can hook it up with water.
So
Oh, it's not hooked up. It don't want.
and you got your clothes right here.
Yeah, no electric. Got my clothes here, my suits to go to church.
So guys, just for perspective, this is like a storage unit.
Yeah.
So you've been living in like a storage
I
unit.
was 3 years old. They were taking care of me. Then they built this, and I helped them build it. But I was just a helper, you know. I'm not an owner. I only got my VA and clean record and pay all my taxes, about $100-something. And
Fidencio, you were in
just
the,
blowed up, man.
you were in the military?
Yeah.
What branch?
Army,
Army? How long did you serve?
17.
Wow. 17 years,
I
VA.
got all that money, and I got no help to get over there and get my money and get an apartment or buy a house.
Really?
A house. I think I had $135,000. They told me wait till you're 65. I wait till 65. Now I'm 67. If I wait till 72, but I might die too. I'm in bad shape.
Wow, man.
But
And,
this is
and
my house.
I just want to say this. The VA is supposed to help you get
I
into
know it.
housing.
I know it.
And they didn't.
And they know. They know where I'm at, and they don't do nothing about it. They don't come and see me or nothing.
Who has visited you in terms of resources? Who's
My
visited
brother.
you? Your brother?
And my people that know me here.
So this is what homeless people do. They try to live in here. But we gotta kick their asses out. That's a finished product, y'all.
So if you're going to live in a storage unit, you're going to need to be as invisible as you possibly can be. You basically need to be a ghost. If anybody finds out you're here, that's when you start running into trouble. So first of all, I needed power for my unit. So what I did is I ran an extension cord along the power cable up here, and I sort of zip tied it up. So you can't really tell its power is going to my unit unless you are looking closely. So this is my unit here, and at the top of the unit you can see I have an antenna, and that's so I can get a cell signal inside the unit itself, because once you close the door it drops all signal. I have a lock which I've magnetized onto the door so it looks like it's locked even when it's not. And then when I actually do want to lock it, I can just use this lock or use another one down here and leave that one there. Alright, so let's take a look at the unit now. So in here I've got my TV, entertainment center set up there. I've got my bed. I've got my kitchen area over there, complete with a fridge, and my couch over here. Once you're inside here, you can close the door, and I've screwed on a latch here so that way you can close it and sort of lock it from the inside. I've also put a mirror up so you can see what you're doing. Up here I've got a toaster oven, And this toaster oven actually works pretty well. I'd say it works just as well as a conventional oven. I've got some dishes over here. Got some more pots and pans over here. And my fridge is right here. Underneath I've got a filing cabinet, some tools, and some storage for some other stuff I have. Up on this part of the kitchen I have cutting board so I can make some lunch or dinner there. I have a hot plate for boiling water, cereal. Up here is the Tupperware, and then over here I've got a food cupboard with all my food. And this is the sink I've built, and the sink is basically like a 25-liter container filled with water, and I've attached these tubes here, so you just open it up, and then the water comes down this tube and out there. So you've got running water, you can do dishes, get a drink, whatever, and then the water filters into this bucket, which goes down into these holes here, which goes into a funnel, which leads into a separate container here. And I usually find I have to empty that container and refill that one, usually once a week, maybe twice. So over here above the bed, I've built a bar, and this is just to hold all my liquor and drinks and everything. But I've also got stuff at the back there behind the bed. So what I've done is I've built this little hinge here. This comes out, and then the hinge drops down, and then that can hold in place while you go and get whatever you need to from back there. Over here I've built a clothing rack, and this works just like it would in any closet. You put your clothes there, except I've included this little latch here on this string so you can push the clothing further to the wall, giving you more space. Up here I built some shelving for some items that I'm storing in here that I don't really use too much. I got my snowboard hanging from the ceiling there. And as you can see, all the stuff I've built in here is all built basically hanging from the ceiling. And the way I did that is I just got 2x4s, really long 2x4s, and put them all the way across the unit. And then I used L brackets to build shelving down from that.
We were all sold a very specific version of the American dream. You work hard 40 hours a week, you buy a modest house, and you take care of your family. But lately, that contract has been completely shredded. People making over $100,000 a year are drowning in basic utility and grocery bills. Hardworking folks, including military veterans, are being forced into stealth living inside commercial storage units just to keep a roof over their heads. And millions more are realizing that traditional budgeting cannot fix a math problem where rent and healthcare double every few years. The system is not just bending right now, it is actively breaking. Let's look at what is really happening on the ground.
America has literally built a system where being poor is more expensive. And nobody talks about how backwards that is. Like, if you're already struggling, everything costs more. On a bill you couldn't afford? Well, now you owe more. Miss a payment because you were trying to juggle rent and groceries? Well, now your credit drops and you owe even more money. Overdraw your account by a few dollars? Well, now you owe $50. Like, this system punishes you for already being behind. We're always rewarding millionaires while the people that are struggling the most just simply end up paying the most money. But everybody still says, work harder, budget better. The reality right now is the economy is brutal. It is so hard to get ahead right now. How are you supposed to get ahead whenever you fall behind a little bit and the system just keeps pushing you back further and further? Everything is insane right now. Rent is at an all-time high. Groceries are so expensive. I don't understand how we're supposed to get ahead in this economy anymore. Don't get me wrong, budgeting does help. I literally have to budget with mine, or else I don't know where any of my money would be going. But it doesn't make up for the fact that the system is literally designed to fail us. So if you're struggling right now, you are not alone.
America just doesn't feel like home anymore. And honestly, it hasn't felt like home in a long time. In fact, I feel probably more like a foreigner living here than I probably would living abroad. And that's honestly what me and my wife intend to do next year, is to move abroad before I turn 40. Now, we've narrowed it down to about 4 different countries. So we're looking at Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, and the Philippines. And the reason we're looking at these places is because we want to live our life. We actually want to live. You know, the majority of Americans right now are literally sacrificing their lives just to survive. And it's insane. I want to live somewhere where the cost of living actually reflects an actual existence that's not just chasing this pipe dream of everyone trying to be a billionaire. You're not going to be a billionaire. And if you're going to be a millionaire, you're going to work your ass off, and you're going to miss your kid shit, and you're going to work and work and work and work until you're dead. That's the American dream right now. And it's just so sickening to me. And then between how angry Americans are. I mean, I can't even stop at a stop sign. If I look down for a second and a green light starts, beep, 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 you piece of... That is literally America right now. People want to just each other because they're so damn stressed out. And we're supposed to live in the greatest country in the world. I'm just so angry about all of this shit in this country. I don't want to leave here. This is my home, but at the same time, it don't feel like home. I can't even have someone look at me in the eye and just do the little white boy stare, go, you know, the little head nod. Nobody will even do that anymore. Nobody will say hi. I mean, it's insane. It's just nobody cares about each other. I mean, I've lived in an apartment for the last 5 years. I've seen my neighbors pretty much every day. Haven't said hi to one of them. And maybe that's a problem, but they haven't said hi to me either. You know, maybe a little wave or smile, but it's just crazy. And I know I'm ranting, but, you know, me and my wife have decided to do something different. So our plan is to save up for a year. I'm also building online income. So I want to try to have about $3,000 to $5,000 a month consistently doing that to make sure I can make that move. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If the cost of living abroad is respecting another culture and following the visa rules, that's what I'm going to do. That's not that bad to live a better life than we do here, because I'm telling you, I know people who make $15 an hour and don't have savings or don't have any other options. And when rent around here is $1,500 to $1,600 a month and you're single, 90%, 80% of your pay for the month is going just towards rent. How do they even eat? I don't know. I don't ask, but I feel really bad for them. And this has to change in this country. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. And I promise you, these politicians, Democrats, Republicans, none of them ain't going to change shit. They don't care. You know why? Because this whole American system is a rug pull. It's a rug pull. You could see it in the stock market. You could see everything going on. We're trillions in debt. There is no fixing this. There's no fixing this. So you know what they're doing? The rich are getting as much as they can. They're going to pull the rug out from under you, and you're going to have nothing. You're going to be fit with a bill. They're going to be rich and laughing, and we'll be starving. So either revolt or move this place.
The skyrocketing cost of living has left millions of people working at full-time jobs or a number of part-time jobs still unable to afford a place to live. Ali Rogan is back with her conversation with journalist Brian Goldstone, author of There Is No Place for Us, about this growing nationwide crisis.
Thank you so much for joining us. In your work, you've come to know many people who work, who may have more than one job, but have come into circumstances where they cannot afford to keep a roof over their heads. Certainly, each person has a unique story, but are there any common threads in their experiences that you've been able to identify?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I do argue in my book that in cities across America today, in one city after another, a low-wage job really is homelessness waiting to happen. And what they have in common is they all belong to the low-wage workforce. And it's not just that their wages are too low to keep up with the skyrocketing cost of having a place to live. It's also that the jobs themselves have become increasingly volatile and precarious, where they often don't know how many hours they're going to be getting from one week to the next. Their employers give them 29 hours a week because at 30 they would be eligible for basic benefits like health insurance or sick leave. And yeah, the cost of housing, rents are just very, very quickly outpacing what their incomes are. So that's kind of the backdrop that that defines these people's existence.
For a long time, the stereotypical perception of homelessness is that it is something that happens to people on the fringes of society, and that may have never been accurate. But what have you found out in your reporting about the reality of what it's like to be without a home?
Yeah, I mean, one really astonishing truth about homelessness in America is that what we see on the street is really the tip of the iceberg. There's this entire world of homelessness that is out of sight, that has been rendered invisible. And within that shadow realm of homelessness, as I refer to it, it is overwhelmingly populated with people, again, who are part of the low-wage workforce, who families with children. And these are people who are working and working and working some more, and it simply is not enough to secure one of life's most basic necessities, a roof overhead. I mean, to be sure, in the richest nation on the planet, nobody should be without housing. But these pernicious myths and stereotypes that homelessness is just caused by addiction or it's just caused by mental illness, it really is not borne out by the reality on the ground. And indeed, often mental illness and addiction is a consequence of this form of insecurity, not its cause.
Health insurance industry is an absolute sham. I don't know how I'm paying $1,500 a month for health insurance, but every single person in my policy has a $6,000 copay, which means I've been going to the doctor all year. I thought my copays went towards our premiums and the amount that we had to pay to get coverage. However, it doesn't. My wife just had a serious event. She had to go to the hospital. She had to have life-saving surgery. And we got a bill in the mail from the hospital for over $3,000 for this procedure. And I'm thinking back, like, I'm paying $1,500 a month for this health insurance. I've personally paid thousands of dollars over the course of this year in copays for myself and stuff that I had to go to the doctors for. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm gonna spend $1,500 a month for the next 12 months. What is that, like 18 grand? And then I have to spend $6,000 a person just to get them to cover things. So you're looking at, we have 5 people in our family. If all of us have to go to the hospital, that's $30,000 in copays that we have to pay on top of the $18,000 in monthly charges to actually get coverage. As a father of 3, I'm strongly considering canceling our health insurance policy, which feels very irresponsible and wrong, but I can't remember the last time I spent over $48,000 in a year in health costs between copays and health insurance and all of this stuff. If I just pay cash, I'm never going to pay anywhere near that amount. For instance, the surgery my wife just had, if we paid cash on that surgery and we didn't have insurance, it would have ran us about $1,200. But because we had insurance and the insurance wasn't going to cover it, we have to pay what the insurance was going to pay, which is over $3,000. Are other families seeing the same thing? Maybe I'm just being unreasonable and crashing out here, but it just doesn't make sense to me.
How is it possible that every single city in the world right now, it seems, is going through a housing crisis? You hear the same stories all the time. There's not enough jobs, the jobs that do exist don't pay enough, and nobody can afford rent. And it seems like this is a global issue, not just here in the States. And I'm wondering, how can this continue? I mean, is it going to be the same 5 years from now? It just seems like we are on this trend, like we're going off the cliff of affordability, and nobody can make it work. And if every city becomes unaffordable and everybody's leaving the cities, what's going to happen to the cities? Are they just going to be ghost towns? Is everyone going to move out to the country? It's really fascinating to think about. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where we go from here. I say a lot, it feels like we're in the end game of capitalism. Of course, right as we're all, getting out of college and getting out into the world is when everything becomes unaffordable. It's like we're in an everything bubble. It feels like we're right around the corner of something happening, and nobody quite knows what. And it's kind of scary. But it's also kind of like we're all in this together.
There's something wrong in this country telling people it is okay to work 3 jobs, not see your kids, not see your loved ones, not take a vacation, and God forbid you get sick, okay? And I still got a job at home because I'm a mother. Because let's not forget, I don't get a day off. And I got to figure all that out. How are we going to eat? How are we going to pay rent? How are we going to pay the utility bills? That every single thing went up after COVID. Not one thing stayed the same except salaries. The only thing that stayed the same in this country is the minimum wage. Even though everything else went up. There is no scarcity.
It is, how do we pit people against each other so they're too distracted to see everything that I'm too addicted to consuming and how much profit I'm making, and more profit, how many more houses one individual can have, how many yachts can one individual have. And you're going to arrest me now that I make a tent city? Yeah. So if I take the scraps from the trash and make some kind of shelter for me and my children, regardless whether I have mental health issues, regardless whether I'm an addict, regardless of whether I am a female, male, whatever, I am a human being first. With what conscience are you criminalizing poverty?
I lived in a third world country this last year. It was so dangerous, it was so scary. Oh my God, I woke up every single day being like, oh my God. Bucket showers, living off the land, understanding where my food's coming from, understanding the way of life. No, babes. America is a third world country. America is a third world country. I've been back for 3 months. And my body is so inflamed. Anytime I walk into a grocery store, I don't even know what to pick because I know it's all toxic. Any interaction I have, I'm like, oh my God, you just want something from me. The American men don't even get me started. The only thing that's beneficial about America is the opportunities here. You have more opportunities here, but you have to give your soul for those opportunities. You don't experience life or balance, no. You have to give your soul to even experience a taste of those opportunities. So if you are scared to travel the world and see other places, I promise you, you're going to be way safer somewhere else than in America. If you're an American, you're good. Your nervous system is prepped for other places in the world.
Learned that America is a third world country because of the rest of the world is so far in front of us in just about everything that I don't know where we have this false narrative that we're like the greatest country in the world, because we are definitely not, guys. Yeah, I'm sad to go back. There are so many countries out there that are just leaps and bounds in front of us in technology, society, everything. We should probably start spending a lot more money on building our country rather than trying to save everybody else, because we're not that great, guys. I can tell you firsthand, we are not doing great. But yeah, unfortunately, that's all I got to say about that topic for now. But yeah, I think anybody that's, flown to any other major city in the world can kind of speak to that as well.
Just say that I feel more unsafe in Philadelphia than I did in any Latin American city right now. I was backpacking Central and Latin America for 6-7 months, and I have never felt unsafe until I got back to Philadelphia. It's just so bad. There's cop cars everywhere. There's kids running around. This kid just said it's a war zone out here. I can't make this up. I can't make it up. I got police everywhere. There's police literally everywhere. There's kids screaming. Necesito salir a los Estados Unidos. Es muy mal.
I did everything I was supposed to do. I was in the military. I went to college. I worked, and we can't buy a home. What did I do wrong? I'm a nurse, and I love it. I love it. It's great.
And what does your husband do?
He's a manufacturing tech at Intel. So we have pretty good jobs, decent jobs.
Do you feel like those jobs are enough to cover your living expenses? And
not even close. We pay about $3,000 in rent. We have all of the utilities. We have car payments, car insurance, mouths to feed, and gas. Maybe we have enough left over for groceries and toiletries and household stuff. Why are we struggling? I'm not gonna give up. The goal is to buy a home in 3 years. If I have to get a second job as a nurse, then so be it.
You will do that.
I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna give my kids something to be proud of.
So do you have to pay anything to live here? And this is what the government did. They had a plan to come. Not the government?
Volunteer group.
A volunteer group made this, so not even the government.
No, government did nothing for us there as far as building.
Does the government ever come to see how you guys are doing?
Well, we had fire inspectors and things like that. We had an inspection team come over to see that everything was up code. This is fire retardant material that is built out of. Many of them burnt down.
Where do you go to the bathroom and shower?
Kind of personal, but I use a bucket and throw away plastic bags.
Right here in California, where the richest of the rich live. Gavin Newsom, your governor here, he just recently bought a home that I think was around $9 million in the San Francisco area. $9 million. And here you are, a veteran, and this is shantytown. I remember many years ago seeing something like this in India, and I just couldn't even fathom it with my brain that this could actually exist anywhere. And here we are in Oakland, California, you know, just miles away from Nancy Pelosi's street up there on the hill. In 2022, she was reportedly worth $125 million. Why couldn't she give some of that millions? Just is so frustrating and so awful to see people living like this. And I bet you feel just blessed to have shelter over your head at night.
I am. I try to take care of it, but it's very difficult with people coming and going. They're using me as a throughway to get down to there.
So people walk through your house to go down here.
Yeah. That's all that area that was open. That was all public land right there
do they do
for
the
us.
courtesy of knocking on your door for us?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, certainly, yeah.
And I gotta say, as a United States veteran, it's absolutely horrible to see how our government is taking care of our veterans. You served our country honorably, and here you are living in third world conditions.
Well, we're helping out the third world countries. We can't help it better.
Economy some bullshit. And I know it's some bullshit because I remember when I was in high school, I took a personal finance class. And one of our assignments was we had to find a career we wanted, right? We had to go on Indeed or a job website and find like a wage, a salary, whatever for that job, right? Then with that salary, we had to find a house that we could afford and a car that we could afford, right? I don't remember what career, whatever that I picked, but I know it was around making like $80-some thousand a year. I was able to have that career, have a nice car, and a nice house and still be chilling. I don't think people understand how out of hand the cost of living is. For a long time, a brand new car was gonna run you between 20 to 25 stacks. Them luxury BMWs, Mercedes, whatever, that'll run you about 30. You know what I'm saying? Them nice Altimas, Camrys, and all this and all that. Brand new, them things used to be about 15 or 18 stacks. Nice ass apartments. They gonna run you about $800 or $900. A regular, schmegular apartment, maybe about $600-700. You living in the hood, it was probably about $400 a month. You know, everything made sense. Now, especially with the apartments, it's either I want to get taxed for some bullshit or I want to live in the hood. There's like no in between anymore. The housing market is crazy. Used cars, the price that people be trying to sell these used cars for is. If you want a decent price for a used car, it's gonna have over 100,000 miles on it.
I am somewhere between we can't afford that and we need to save money, and I will cash out my 401k for a dirty martini.
So I was just out on a walk right now, and check out these homes next to this path that I'm on. I was looking these homes up on Zillow, and you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $615, $625, $650 in some cases for these really tiny houses. I mean, they're not very big. You can see the properties they're sitting on are tiny, and yet people want $650,000 for these homes at what, 6.25% interest rates? Like, no wonder nobody can afford anything.
So let me tell you why getting out of debt is not practical. It's not a realistic goal if you're, a millennial or younger. So I did the Dave Ramsey's course for a few years. And if you don't know what it is, a quick rundown, basically, it's the snowball pay off your debt thing. You've probably heard of this. You just cut all your extra spending, you cancel your Netflix, take that extra $15 a month, every little dime that you can, and pay it towards, your smallest amount of debt, like your credit card or whatever. And then once that's paid off, you take all that money that you were paying towards your credit card and pay it towards, the next thing, your car payment or whatever. You get that paid off, and you take all that money combined, pay it towards your student loans, your house, get your house paid off early, max out your retirement, and retire a millionaire. I just told you Dave Ramsey's entire book. which is a great idea. And I know like my parents, you know, they did it and stuff and had success with it. Here's the issue. So I cut out, I literally didn't eat because I'm like, you know, we have to figure out a way to come up with extra money. And I work like, you know, 10, 15, 20 hours overtime a week. And I'm like, we don't have any extra, like I can't, I'm not paying for Netflix already. I can't just cancel it and have an extra money. And so I just like stopped eating. I stopped eating lunch and, you know, cause that's $50 a week or whatever in lunch that you're spending. So I quit eating lunch. That's where I got my extra money. And I worked as much as I could. And I went completely broke every week. I spent every dime out of my bank account. Other than, you know, whatever, $20 to keep it from going negative or whatever. And I paid everything on our credit cards because, you know, we had like a couple $1,000s of credit card debt. We just bought our first house in 2020, which is a terrible time to buy a house. And I got that paid off. Got the credit card paid off. Finally, let's start paying extra on my truck to get rid of my, you know, vehicle loan. Well, that was extremely hard to do because if you remember anything about 2020, 2021, 2022, like gas prices were, you know, highest on record, $6 a gallon. It was costing me $100, $120 a week just to drive to work in gas. Grocery prices doubled, my electric bill doubled, all this stuff, right? So I really didn't have any extra money to pay on my vehicles. But, you know, I did. I paid a couple extra, you know, payments on it, and I got it paid off maybe 6 months early. And then I was like, hey, I'm going to have $450 a month to pay towards, I was going to pay towards my wife's car and get it paid off, you know, twice as fast, basically double the payments on that, and then take our tax refund every year and pay it on it and all this stuff and get it paid off, and then we can pay off our student loans, and then we can finally have some money, you know, 10 years from now, if we stay on track and do absolutely nothing except pay off debt, you know, no vacations, no extra anything. You know, maybe in 10 years we'd be able to finally like save money, be financially stable, buy another house, all this stuff. Joke's on you. I paid my truck off, and within a few months, it was like everything, my house payment, the bank mismanaged my escrow, and 1 month my house payment was just like $200 more. And I called them, they're like, oh yeah, sorry. The electric bill started going up. I went from getting like $200, $300, you know, electric bills to like $400, $500. It was insane. Which the electric company actually got sued because they were, I guess, screwing people over. But then they kind of went down after that. But the craziest thing was like my wife and son, because I had just had my son, he was about a year old, and he got dropped off Medicaid, okay? And he had to have tubes put in his ears, all at the same time, right? And so I have no insurance, and you would think like getting tubes put in your ears would be like $1,000. No, it's like $11,000. And so a cash price on that, I paid all of my savings out, like $3,000 in cash that I had to pay him up front for them to do the surgery, which, by the way, we had to wait like 8 months to get him in for this operation, which takes 4 seconds to do, but whatever. And yeah, so they dropped him off Medicaid, so I had to pay for that. I still have medical debt from that I haven't paid. It's in collections because screw them. And then I had to turn around and get insurance on my wife and son. I didn't even have insurance because, you know, who cares if I get sick and die as long as my wife and kid are taken care of, because that's all I can afford to do. That's $600 a month for like not real insurance. Like it doesn't cover anything until you spend, you know, whatever, $7,500 deductible before they cover a single dime of anything. That's the kind of insurance you get for $600 a month. And so not only like I went from, oh, I was going to have an extra $450 a month to now I need an additional like $200, $300, $400 a month on top of the $400 that I was already supposed to, you know, save and roll into paying off more debt. And every month the bills go higher, everything just goes up, and I can't work any more hours than I do. Like there's only so much time in a day. So it's impossible to find any extra money, and you just can't keep up with the price of inflation. You can't keep up with the cost of living. You can't keep up with the housing market. You can't keep up with the, you know, fuel prices doubling because we bomb Iran or whatever. We went from spending, you know, like $150 a week on groceries to like $300 a week in groceries. Like, that's just dinner. That's just if we buy like all the frozen crap that we eat for dinner. That's nothing else. So the only option that you have is to figure out how to make a crap ton more money. Because honestly, since the year 2020, when I bought my first house, you know, to now, I need an additional $1,500 a month is how much my bills have went up. And I haven't, like, I've paid stuff off. I haven't gotten more debt. I haven't gotten more stuff. I've paid stuff off. But just the basic stuff, like the house payment, the electric bill, the insurance, all this stuff just keeps going up and up and up. And you can't keep up with it. So unless your employer is going to give you like a 20-30% raise every year just to keep up with, like, you know, the cost of inflation and crap, then you're not going to get out of debt.
Feed them bread and entertain them with the circus to keep them occupied so they're not paying attention to the people in power and what they're doing behind the scenes. What happens if the middle class is gone? Right? Because essentially the middle class is the bread and circus, right? The objective, if I'm like an elite and I want to keep my population, you know, in order and civilized, I make them middle class, right? So what happens if the 1% and all the corporations have all the money? What happens is society collapses, right? Because, like, every human relationship costs money, right? Like, literally, if there's no middle class in America and the 1% has all the money, America doesn't work, right? So what does that lead to? I don't know. I think we're about to find out. I think America is going to break. And then what happens after that, I don't know.
Isn't it insane that wanting a normal life now is considered a luxury? Like, we're not asking for yachts. We're not asking for mansions. We're literally just asking for a life that doesn't feel like drowning. A place to live that doesn't take our entire paycheck. A car that doesn't require a loan longer than the relationship that got us into it. And groceries that don't feel like a punishment for trying to eat. We're not chasing some billionaire fantasy. We just want a fair shot. We want time with our families. We want energy after work instead of collapsing on the couch, praying that the weekend feels longer than 6 minutes. We were told, work hard, be loyal, show up. We did. But while we're doing everything right, they kept moving the finish line. The rent went up, the food went up, the bills went up, but the paychecks haven't done shit. And the people at the top still had the nerve to tell us it's not that bad. Brother, it is bad. If being able to afford a dentist appointment means going into debt, if missing one day of work means falling behind, if a cart of basic groceries gives you anxiety, that's not a personal problem. That's a broken system. So if we sound angry, it's because we are. We're tired of being lectured by the people who've never struggled, while we're trying to survive in a system designed to keep us desperate. We don't want luxury. We just want our lives back. And the fact that even that feels like asking too damn much tells you everything.
I never wanted to come on here and like complain about money because it's embarrassing for me to do so, because I have a lot of friends and family that follow me on this account. But I guess that's what I'm gonna do today. My husband and I make more than we ever have. We make a combined, I want to say, over $100,000 a year pre-tax. And still, at the end of every month, we're overdrawn. Like, we're in the red $1,600 every single month. I have canceled every subscription possible that I can cancel. I've canceled our streaming services. I've canceled like any gym memberships. Literally anything that I can cancel, I have. My husband is trying to pick up freelance work like in his industry. I'm trying to pick up a second job, and it's just, nothing is ever enough. Nothing is ever enough. We don't eat out. We budget every single penny that we have. We shop at Walmart or Aldi for groceries. We only buy what we need for that week. We don't buy any extra snacks for ourselves. We always buy extra for our son, obviously, but never for like us. And with all of that budgeting and everything, we are still in the hole. Still in the hole. Like today is Tuesday. I'm overdrawn $300 in my account, and I don't get paid until Friday. And on Friday, when I do get paid, I'm going to have to call my bank and beg for them to reverse the overdraft charges, and just beg that they will. And they probably won't. I don't know what else to do. Like, we are doing everything right and still coming up short. And I don't understand how people are supposed to live like this. I don't understand how this is sustainable much longer. It feels like I'm on a really shitty treadmill and I'm running in place, and I am running at a speed that is too fast for me, too fast for us. And I don't know when I'm going to fall off. And I'm just trying so hard to stay on, but I keep feeling like I'm slipping. I'm happy to know that I'm not alone in this struggle, but it's just very hard.
I just logged in to our health insurance provider, and I can't even. In July of 2025, our health insurance premium went from $59 a month to $798 a month. And since it is now open enrollment, I just logged in to our health insurance to see what, if we stay on the same plan, what our premium is going to be for 2026. $1,208.91 a month. Our family deductible has gone from $0 to $11,900. Our primary care copays have doubled. Our urgent care copay went from $10 to $60. Our generic prescription copay has doubled. And this is coming off of the fact that my husband just had to have a prescription filled that is supposed to be covered by insurance. And you want to know what the copay was on that after insurance? $1,200 for a prescription, on top of the $798 health insurance premium that we just paid. And this doesn't have to do, this is separate from everyone else's rising costs in health insurance, but we are self-employed. We are real estate agents. And this is just in addition to the next time somebody wants to devalue or question how much their real estate agent is getting paid and wants them to take a reduction in their commission, just remember that your real estate agent is going through the same things as you, paying this out of pocket if they even have health insurance, withholding their own taxes if they can even afford to do so.
Seven things the middle class will not be able to afford in the next 5 years, and I think it's a lot sooner than that. Number one, housing. Unless you inherited property, struck gold, or plan to live with family,
it's going to be impossible.
Yeah.
Cars, new ones, not realistic.
Vacations. Travel savings is quietly becoming survival money.
Healthcare, insured or not, you're paying premiums, co-pays, deductibles. And that's going to eat up a lot of your money.
And medications. 5, child care. $2,000 per child per month. It's not child care, it's a second mortgage.
Yes, it is. And it's slowly been getting so much more expensive for people
everywhere.
Retirement. Most people aren't planning retirement. They're planning how to get through next week and the week after that and so forth. It's just impossible.
Savings, just not happening. So tell us, how are you getting through each day? We would like to know.
Let us know.
So $130,000 a year is now becoming the new poor. Right now, the average household income is $83,000. That's the median household income. But then if you do the math about the taxes they take out of your paycheck, the cost of housing, the cost of transport, the health insurance premiums, and child care, like if you look at this graph, you're going to see that $83,000 on the average cost will leave you $10,000 in the red, right? And to be comfortable, based off of the old 1960 standard of poverty rate, it was based off of how much it would take a family of 3 to eat back then. So she would take that number and multiply it by 3, and that number would be like the golden number. They'll spend a third of their money on food, and everything else would comfortably fit within the other 2/3 of that number. But back then, food was the most expensive thing. Housing was cheap, transportation was cheap, and everything. But by the modern standard, if you take that same metric she used back then and shift it to now, you'd have to be making $130,000 to be comfortable the way people were under the same metric, the same mathematics back in the 1960s. And it's incredible to hear that number, $130,000, 6 figures is the new poor. But it makes sense when you consider everything is considered luxury. All the prices have gone up. Even my cat's angry about it. I hear her screaming over there. She knows it's ridiculous that everything is a luxury, because not everything is a luxury, but everything is getting that premium price tag because they're slapping luxury on every good we consume. And if you want to eat real food even, that's considered a luxury. So they're putting extra money on that as well. So even though I feel like it's really crazy to consider, that number is actually correct. $130,000 does seem to be the new poverty line for a family of 4. It's hard times out there, and I know a lot of people are like, I'll make that type of money, but it is hard times out there because of unrealistic expectations from the media.
Okay, we're gonna do a car living update. I'm gonna show you guys my new storage unit and how I stay organized living in my car in Tampa, Florida. First things first, I got this 3-drawer plastic container. Whatever, I put my clothes in that. Usually I do underwear, socks, bras in the top. I do my shirts and then pants. I just pick out outfits and then plan them later on. I got these bags from Target, and honestly, they were so helpful in moving. It literally got all of my stuff to Tampa from Tennessee. I left my dirty clothes basket in my other storage unit in Nashville because it wasn't gonna fit in my car. So all of my dirty clothes right now are just in a pile. We're gonna hit the laundromat sometime this weekend. But that is my storage unit update for you guys. We're doing good. Tampa's amazing. It's super hot here. The beach is amazing though, and honestly I will say the people here are really nice.
People ask me every single day, why do you want to live in a tent? And here's the deal. You have to come up with first, last, and security to rent a home. You have to make 3 times the rent to rent a home. You have to get background checks and credit checks. And then if you're lucky enough to get approved and have the almost $10,000 that you need to move in, then you better have the money to hook up all of your utilities that are also going to require deposits. The United States has made the rental sector unaffordable. People who are renters can no longer afford to rent. They are now living in cars, in tents, in vans, anywhere that they can live because it's no longer affordable to rent a home. So that is why I live in my canvas tent, and I live for under $600 a month, and I am very happy.
We were living in a storage unit and got kicked out because it got so popular. Everyone was talking about it. It was even on the news.
Wow, speechless.
We lived in a U-Haul after we got kicked out of the storage unit. We used that same U-Haul to set up our new homeless spot next to the shopping mall. There were no private property signs, but someone owned this land and kicked us off. So then we moved into a hotel, and then we got evicted from that, and we're homeless again. This is our second time being homeless. We know how to survive, and we're gonna stay out here until we save up enough money to where we pay off all our debt and get a tiny home. We gotta raise our credit really high. So it's not just about money.
After being homeless, living in my car for 5 years because of the out-of-control rent prices and the cost of living crisis that we're experiencing in America right now, me and my best friend now live in a long-term hotel, and this is perfect because you can stay as long or short as you want. All the utilities are included. You don't have to make 3 times the rent. You don't have to have perfect credit, and they don't care if you have an eviction on your record. And we have made the place kind of our own, adding little touches here and there. And so far, we are absolutely loving this. And I think this is a great alternative. Is it perfect? No, but I think it is a great option. And we're making it work. And we're excited for what is to come.
Update for you guys. We're still in the hotel the second hotel that we went to. We're still there because it's obviously the cheapest hotel, and it's like an extended stay hotel, so I feel like they're not being like weird about us being here, which is so nice. The thing is, though, since we have a dog, they have to come in every single day and clean, and that's kind of frustrating because it seems like every time they come in to clean, it's always right when I get the baby down to bed, and they have to have everybody out of the room, and they can't have anything on the beds for them to be able to come in there, like, obviously for reasons, but so I always have to get the baby up, and so she's been annoyed by getting her naps interrupted every single day. But today, he gave me the option of just changing out the towels and like helping. I did the trash cans and stuff with him, so that way he didn't have to come in, which was really nice.
Yes, I pay $300 to $400 a week to do hotel living, and here's why. Well, first things first, I did not need thousands of dollars to move into the hotel. I didn't have to go through any background checks. I didn't have to do a credit check. I did not have to pay a filing fee. I didn't have to pay first and last month's rent. And another one of the biggest things, I did not have to prove 3 times the amount of the rent to move into the hotel. And also, I'm not locked into any type of lease. Now, that's just the start. Also, let's talk about utilities. I did not have to go out and get my own utilities turned on. The power, the water, the cable, the trash. It all came with my one total amount that I paid to stay here at the hotel, which currently is $307 a week. Now, those prices are subject to change, also per state, per location. Even for me, once I do my reservation, I do it for 6 months at a time, which locks me into that rate. However, when I go to switch my reservation, my price may go up, but sometimes it does go down. It all just depends on what the cost of hotels are at the time that you're doing your reservation. And no, hotel living is not for everyone. It's not the most glamorous lifestyle. However, it will keep you off the street, out from under a bridge, and it'll keep a roof over your head, and it's all about how you make it.
So last week I posted a video about my extended stay hotel room. A lot of people wanted to know about price. It's about $50 a night, so that winds up to about $350 a week, about $1,500 a month, give or take. Maybe $100, $200, depending on if you want 2 beds, if you have animals, etc. But just for us, we got the basic package, simple room. We pay $1,500 a month. You can pay nightly, you can pay weekly, or you can pay monthly, or you can pay 2 or 3 days at a time, whatever works best for you. We don't have any bugs. There's no cockroaches. That was a major thing for me because I'm not gonna be able to deal with cockroaches. They're very clean, like I said, they're really cozy. There's not a lot of drug activity to speak of. If people are doing drugs here, you wouldn't know. There's not a lot of drama and police in and out and stuff. It's very peaceful and quiet.
Everybody knows that here at the hotel, we do long-term stays for $1,020 a month. But I want to show you what the hotel actually looks like on the inside. So let's go in and take a look. We have a little coffee bar. It's not what everyone expects in a coffee bar. It's not aesthetic, but it is free coffee, so don't complain. We have people from all around the world. Yes, we know the restroom door needs to be painted. The floor, we know the grout needs to be cleaned. But just because it looks dirty, it doesn't mean it is dirty. We clean them every day. The elevator is a little dinged up. We get it. We know it needs to be fixed. This is the 4th floor. It's old. We know. Even the carpet is old. The ceiling needs to be scraped and painted. We get it. We know. I don't know what's going on there. We've had a lot of bad maintenance guys in the past that didn't care about their job, and they would literally just do stuff like this. This room, for instance, it is clean, but it has a few issues, like right here. It needs to be painted and grouted a little bit. We know the issues, but it doesn't mean that it's dirty. So the mirror definitely has seen better days. It has spots. The tile is cracked. Old does not mean dirty. The furniture from the Roy Thomas furniture collection, this is what this is. This is our service elevator that the housekeepers and maintenance use. We know it's broke, but hey, I'm open to any partnership deals that would like to help me out and transform this elevator to what it should be. Hit me up. My email's in my bio. Just want to show y'all our coffee pots. You can't wash clothes in those. They're too small. They're too tiny. Mr. Coffee, thank you. Shout out to the lady that washed her panties in them. It's all Sherwin-Williams paint that we've used in this hotel, but I'm sick of this millennial gray. I'm sick of looking at it. But the owner, he likes it, so what the owner wants is what the owner gets. What is going on with those pillows? Well, one of my biggest pet peeves, I have a bunch. Pillows. And this. See? Little doggies are going to climb up on the door and they're going to scratch it and peel the paint off. And this lovely thing. I just noticed. Housekeeping didn't tell me. Now I have to take this room offline and we have to patch it. This. See? What's going on with that? But it's clean. Now, I did try to fix this with some yellow paint, but it didn't work out. Ladies, one of you did this because you thought your man was in the room with another woman, but he wasn't. And you tore my door up. Don't do that. There's only 14, including myself, that take care of this hotel. The hotel is 5 stories. It has 160 guest rooms, and we have 6 event spaces here. The hotel sits on almost 7 acres of land, so that should tell you about how big it is. It's a lot of work to run this hotel, and with the limited staff, we always manage to get it done. So I know things are lacking. I know things need to be fixed. I can't ensure the hotel is clean. It needs a facelift, cosmetic lift in certain areas, but we're definitely getting there. So give us a try.
It is incredibly hard to watch a veteran who served this country for 17 years living in a metal box, while the politicians who oversee our housing and veteran affairs systems look the other way. What we are seeing is not a failure of individual budgeting or a lack of hard work. It is a massive, systemic failure of the American economy. When families making 6 figures are rationing food, and a sudden medical bill can wipe out years of savings despite paying $1,500 a month for insurance premiums, the game is rigged. Corporate landlords and healthcare conglomerates have squeezed every last drop of margin out of the working class. People are not moving into tents, cars, and extended stay hotels by choice. They are doing it because the traditional housing market has completely locked them out. We are witnessing the intentional pricing out of the American middle class. Have you or someone you know had to consider alternative living situations like a hotel, a car, or an RV just to escape these massive rent hikes? Let me know your story down in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.